Hi, second graders. It's Mr. Schaefer here. I'm ready to teach you today about, we're going back to attributes, but we're going to be talking about sorting three-dimensional shapes by attributes instead of two-dimensional shapes today. So we've already learned about attributes of two-dimensional shapes. Here's a few. We can talk about number of sides, number of vertices, whether it's regular or irregular, or how many pairs of parallel lines it has. So let's look at this shape. This is a quadrilateral because it has how many sides? Right, 4 sides. And it's also a trapezoid because it only has 1 pair of parallel lines. So let's talk about those attributes of this trapezoid. How many sides does it have? 4. How many vertices does it have? 4 vertices. Is it regular or irregular? Well, remember, if it's regular, the sides are all the same length and the vertices are all the same. So I can see this side is longer than this side, so the sides are not all the same length. And I can see that this corner is sharper than this corner. So the vertices are not all the same either. So it is an irregular shape. And how many pairs of parallel lines does it have? There's 1 pair. We know they're parallel because these 2 lines will always be the same distance apart no matter how far they go. Is that the only pair? Let's look at the other pair of lines. Oh, are these parallel? No, they're not, because look up at the top. They're really far apart at the top, and then at the bottom, they're really close together. They're going to cross if they keep going. So if they cross, they're not parallel. How many pairs of parallel lines does this trapezoid have then? It just has 1 pair. The top line and the bottom line are parallel. So those are all the attributes we can talk about to do with this shape. Now, just a reminder about three-dimensional shapes. Remember that we have a face, which is a polygon that's part of the three-dimensional figure. So it's the flat surfaces on the three-dimensional shapes. Here's our example. This is a face. We also have edges. That's where the 2 faces meet. So where the 2 faces meet is an edge. Think about the edge of a table. That's an edge of this rectangular prism. And a vertex. You already know what a vertex is. It's the corner of a shape. So the really sharp part on this cube that I'm holding would be the vertex. All right, that was just a refresher. So what do you think some attributes of three-dimensional shapes might be? Well, probably the number of faces, the number of vertices, and the number of edges. So let's start with those 3 attributes. We can sort three-dimensional shapes by any of these attributes. For example, here's a chart. I want to sort thinking about the number of faces that my three-dimensional shape has. So remember, a face is a flat surface on a three-dimensional shape. So look at my cube right now. Hang on. Let's go back here. Look at my cube. How many faces does my cube have? Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's one up on the top I didn't get. 5. Did I miss any? Oh, there's one more. 6. So how many faces does my cube have? It has 6 faces altogether, 6 flat surfaces. So we're going to be talking about organizing our three-dimensional shape by that attribute, by the number of faces that they have. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. All right, our first shape we're going to be talking about is this triangular prism. Now we have to count up how many faces the triangular prism has. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if it has 5 faces, where am I going to put it on my chart? 5 faces or 6 faces? Obviously, 5 faces. So let's move it over to 5 faces. And let's look at our next three-dimensional shape. This is called a pentagonal pyramid. It's a pentagonal pyramid because look at the base, the bottom of the shape is a pentagon. It has 5 sides. So then it all comes together at a point up at the top, which makes it a pyramid. So how many faces does this shape have? Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at the bottom. This one has 6 faces, so we're going to move it over to 6 faces on our chart. Are we good so far? Give me a thumbs up if you're good so far. All right, amazing. Let's look at our next shape. This is a square pyramid. That means it has a square as its base, and then all of the other surfaces go up to a point, so that makes it a pyramid. So let's count up how many faces this square pyramid has. And if you got that it has 5 faces, you were correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the base. Last one would be a cube. Oh, we just did this one. How many faces does a cube have? 6 faces. All right. So I just sorted my three-dimensional shapes using the number of faces. I put them into 2 categories, 5 faces or 6 faces. So let's talk about the attributes of the cube. A cube has how many faces? A cube has how many vertices? And a cube is not a blank. So how many faces does my cube have? We remember because we just did it, 6 faces. Does that mean it has 6 vertices? Let's count the vertices. Ready? This is the corner of the cube. Let's count how many we have. I'm going to put a dot on each one as I do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 8 vertices, actually. So it has 8 vertices, and it's not a what? Well, we could say it's not a lot of things. Is it a triangular pyramid? Is it a hexagonal prism? No, it's a cube, so it's not a triangular pyramid. But you could say a lot of things in this blank. This is what you're working on Monday, and now I'm going to go into what you're going to be working on Tuesday. So you might have to watch this video on Monday. You might want to pause it here and do your work for Monday. And then the rest of what I'm about to talk about is what you're going to have to do for Tuesday. All right, going into Tuesday's work, here we go. You can also sort your three-dimensional shapes using another attribute. You could talk about the type of base. Now, a base is the surface or the face on the bottom of the three-dimensional shape. So I'm going to sort them into 2 categories. Either it has a square base, like the cube does, or it doesn't have a square base, not a square base. Let's look. So this shape is called a square pyramid. It has a square base, and all of the other faces go up into 1 point at the top, 1 vertex. So does this have a square base or not a square base? Well, that would be a square base. So this shape is going to go over into square base. Let's look at the next one. Let's see if this has a square base. This is a rectangular prism. Now, what kind of base does this one have? It's a rectangle, right? Is a rectangle a square? No, because a rectangle doesn't have sides that are all the same length. So this one is not a square base. All right, and what you're going to be doing for Tuesday's assignment is talking about the attributes of a rectangular prism. Now, we're looking at the base. So we're asking, a rectangular prism has a blank base. A rectangular prism has blank vertices. And a rectangular prism is not a blank. So what kind of base does it have again? It's a rectangular base, right? So it has a rectangular base. How many vertices does it have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a rectangular prism has 8 vertices. And a rectangular prism is not a, what is it not? It's not a triangular prism. It's not a pyramid. We could also say it's not a cube. So that part is up to you. What is it not? All right, that is it for Monday and Tuesday's math. As always, let me know if you have any questions or if you're having trouble with the assignments. Bye, guys. Have a great day.